Around 90 million acres of corn is planted in the United States every single year. But that means that farmers need about 90 million acres worth of seed to put in their planters every single year. So where does this seed come from? Earlier this year, I had the opportunity to tour the Wiffles seed production facility in Atkinson, Illinois, and I'm here to share with you guys what the process is from growing the corn seed all the way to your planter. So back in September, I had the opportunity to go and check out the Wiffles state-of-the-art seed production facility. And I have not brought you guys a video yet because, well, first of all, this was a very difficult video to edit. And secondly, harvest started shortly after I filmed it and I got really busy. So with that out of the way, how does the Wiffles seed corn that I plant every year on my farm get from the plant to the planter? What's the process like to get the seed in absolutely perfect condition to sell? Start out, what I call a hybrid or variety is a combination of a carefully breeded male and female corn plant. Yep, that's right, male and female. The birds and the bees is potentially for a future video on how corn breeding works, but what you need to know for now is that Wiffles has select growers that raise seed corn across their sales geography. In fact, some of these growers have been growing Wiffles for 3 generations. And seed corn is a fair amount different than production corn that I grow, which is mainly used to create ethanol that I then use when filling my vehicles. First of all, seed corn does not yield as well as production corn that it produces. Secondly, it looks a bit funny, almost deformed compared to production corn. But nonetheless, it is picked around 34 to 36% moisture on average, and yield is about 70 bushels per acre. And yes, I said picked. To handle the corn as gently as possible, the ears are picked whole and then trucked to the seed production facility in Atkinson, Illinois. When a truck arrives at the seed production facility, it scales in and receives a ticket based on what field the truck came from. This ticket tells the truck driver which one of 4 lanes it will park in to dump. These lanes are very important because 2 different hybrids can be dumped and processed at the same time. So it is crucial to dump in the correct location. Otherwise, cross-contamination of corn can occur. It is very common to dump 60 to 70 truckloads a day, with the record being right around 80 trucks in one day. The trucks slowly dump the corn out of the back of the truck onto rubber belts to make the process as gentle as it can be on the corn, a common theme as you tour the plant. These rubber conveyor belts take the corn up to the top of the husking building. The husking building contains machines that, well, remove the husk from the corn. The corn goes down these rubber rollers which tear off the husks without damaging the ear. A camera eye at the end makes sure that only the fully husked ears make it through to the next step. If the sorter sees an ear with the husk still attached, it drops that ear to another conveyor that brings it back to the beginning and runs it through the rollers for a second time. After the ears have been husked, workers visually inspect all the ears to verify the quality of the corn. They are looking for things like deformed ears and discolored corn. They toss aside any ears that are not up to visual quality. This is the first step in many that test for quality of the corn. After being husked and visually inspected, the ears are then transported onto another rubber conveyor belt to the dryers where a worker fills each bin with the desired volume and pattern to allow for the best quality of drying. Unlike the dryers that I use on my farm, where the corn is inside for about an hour, these ears are dried for 72 hours straight. The dryers typically push 95-degree Fahrenheit air from the bottom for the first 36 hours, and then 104-degree air from the top for the next 36 hours. All while operators take corn samples, and of course each dryer contains multiple sensors that are monitored the entire time that the dryer is running. This is a very long drying period from the top and bottom, which allows for gentle and consistent drying down to 12.5% moisture to ensure the best possible seed quality. After the corn is done drying, workers open the bottom of the dryer bins onto yet another rubber conveyor belt, which takes the corn to the shellers. These are special low RPM shellers which are designed to rub the ears of corn against each other. This is the most effective way to shell corn without damaging any kernels. Once the corn is shelled, it rides another rubber conveyor belt to the storage facility where it gets placed into the appropriate bin for long-term storage until it can be completed in the next steps. The storage building that I got to walk through had 660,000 bushels of storage in it, and holding these storage bins together is roughly 330,000 bolts. And this was not the only storage facility on the premises. Once the bins are full, the kernels are cooled down with the fans, and sensors regularly monitor the condition of the seed. Each bin in this storage facility contains a batch of corn. Once it is a specific batch's turn, it leaves the storage facility and travels across the 700-foot long conveyor into the cleaning, conditioning, and bagging building. Here, a color sorter scans every single kernel and sorts out all the damaged seed using a small blast of air. The seed is all sorted by size using these drums. The drums contain different size holes that allow the kernels to be sorted with other seeds of the same likeness. This is super important for planting, as inconsistent seed size can lead to inconsistent behaviors in the planter meters. This can cause doubles or skips, which in turn hurt the end yield. With the seeds sorted into different sizes, this last step in the cleaning process is the gravity table. This table shakes and creates an environment in which the less dense seeds are separated off to the side of the table away from the more dense seeds to further improve seed consistency. Now that we have clean, consistent, and damage-free corn, it's time to treat it. Wyffels utilizes 2 batch treaters to apply a fungicide package, insecticide, colorant, and a polymer for flowability. These batches are approximately 400 pounds and are discharged onto a drying belt. Refuge corn, or non-insecticide treated corn, is introduced at the end of the drying belt to create rib corn, or refuge in a bag. Each rib unit product requires 5% refuge per unit. By the time the seed travels from the drying belt through the continuous cup elevator and into a bin, it is homogeneously mixed, ensuring that each unit has a proper amount. Refuge corn is actually extremely important, as it prevents insects from becoming resistant to insecticides that are covering the seed. With the seed fully ready to plant, it heads over to the filling station. Bagging and bulk box filling is handled by the robots to ensure that each bag is sealed up to the proper weight. This machine can fill 23 bags per minute. That's a bag every 2.6 seconds. The machine also stitches up the bag, and a robotic arm organizes the bags onto pallets and plastic wraps them to be placed into storage until it's, well, ready to be delivered to the end user, like myself. Watching this robot perfectly stack a pallet of bags in a couple of minutes was probably my favorite part of the entire tour. Wyffels also has their seed testing lab on site. This lab tests every single lot of seed 4 times a year, testing hybrid purity, germination, and overall seed quality. The lab alone plants over 100 acres a year by hand on their lab trays. Everything at the Wyffels seed production facility is extremely thought out, and every step is to ensure the highest quality of product for the end user. On my farm, cross-contamination is something that I always take extreme caution with. Accidentally dumping corn into soybean bin, or even worse, mixing organic and non-organic crop could be a devastating mistake. And it's the same for seed companies. Wyffels has many different varieties and hybrids of corn, and contamination could be extremely costly. And that is why they have a state-of-the-art computer system that monitors each step along the way and actively prevents human error. For example, you see this yellow bar on the bottom of the dryer? These lock dryer doors from being opened up unless the computer systems have a clear and clean path for that specific batch to go. This prevents a worker from accidentally opening the wrong door, and that's just one example. I got the opportunity to talk to the computer operators for a while, and I consider myself a very technologically advanced guy, but after a few minutes, I was kind of lost, but at the same time, super impressed by the security measures that are taken to make sure that there is zero cross-contamination that happens in their facility. I absolutely loved my tour at the Wyffels facility, and it was just really cool to see the process of creating the seed that I've been planting for my entire life. And if you guys ever have a chance to go visit a seed production facility, especially the Wyffels one, I know they're also opening a new one here in Ames, Iowa, do it. It was super cool, and what amazed me is as I was going through this Wiffles production facility, how many times the plant manager said, this is an industry first, this is an industry first. No one else has this technology. Just blew my mind. So I just want to thank Wiffles for being an awesome sponsor, let me tour their production facility, make this video, and, well, for making fantastic corn. If you guys have any questions, leave them down below. I will try and reach out to somebody who might know the answers if I do not. And if you have any further videos that you'd like to see, maybe expanding on this or expanding on certain topics, also let me know down below in the comments. Until then, see you in the next one.